welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a single, pretty startling document. It's a formal complaint written by a university professor, and in it he gives his raw, unfiltered account of how the very systems that are supposed to protect us, he claims, were turned into weapons against him. And right from the jump, his own words set the tone for everything we're about to talk about. He makes it crystal clear. This isn't about feeling sorry for him. This is a demand for justice. So who is the man behind this really powerful document? Well, to even begin to understand his allegations, we need to understand a little bit about him first. Okay, so his name is Professor Dr. Mohamed Ebrahim Fayad. He's a professor at San Jose State University. He's an academic, a scholar, and he's the person who wrote this testimony. He also tells us that he's 75 years old. Now, this might seem like just a small detail, but it becomes absolutely crucial later on, because his complaint specifically calls on elder abuse prevention laws. He also reveals something incredibly personal and vulnerable. He's a heart transplant recipient, and that just changes everything, doesn't it? It completely reframes his struggle. He's basically arguing that all the stress he's under isn't just some inconvenience. It's a direct threat to his life, making peace and quiet just as vital as his actual medicine. The first major fight he gets into starts with something that for most of us is totally routine, getting a prescription refilled. But in his story, this simple task becomes the flashpoint for what he calls systematic revenge. According to his account, the whole situation just escalates with breathtaking speed. First, he tries to avoid problems by moving his vital meds to a new pharmacy. But then, on February 2nd, the prescription gets sent back to CVS anyway. He alleges he was denied, forced to wait for 2 hours, and was subjected to what he calls racist bullying. And in the end, he only got a third of his medication. And then boom. The very next day, his doctor's appointment is canceled, and he claims he was physically blocked from even entering the clinic. I mean, the language he uses here is just so raw, so emotional. He's not just listing facts. He's describing the deep personal hit this all had on him, claiming he was bullied so badly that he left the pharmacy in tears. It really brings home the human side of his testimony. And the conflict, as he tells it, doesn't just stop at the pharmacy counter. Nope. It escalates and literally follows him home, turning into a threat against his housing and his personal safety. He talks about this interaction he had with an official from a Center for Independent Living, and the contrast he describes is just jarring. I mean, on one hand, the whole point of the job is to help people, but on the other hand, his reality, he said the experience felt more like dealing with a jailer. It's a really stark picture of a support system that he claims felt totally oppressive. And then things get even more intense. On March 2nd, he alleges that a man claiming to be a police officer shows up at his apartment. He describes this violent knocking and threats of eviction, all based on what he calls fake court decisions that the guy refused to even show him. He's really painting a picture of being terrorized in his own home. So from the physical world, the conflict then moves to the digital. He describes this as the climax, really, of this whole campaign against him, a kind of technological siege designed to totally cut him off from his work, from his colleagues, from everything. He claims that a whole bunch of paid services, the essential tools for any professional these days, were just systematically shut down. His Google business accounts, Zoom, his writing tools, even his cybersecurity software. He says every part of his digital life, social, commercial, academic, was targeted. So when he reached out for help from the tech giant at the center of all this, the response he claims he got was just devastatingly simple. This is not our problem. He presents it as this ultimate moment of a giant institution just not caring. He sums up the entire experience with this really chilling phrase, a slow killing process. He's not just saying it was inconvenient. He's arguing it was a deliberate attempt to basically suffocate him technically and scientifically. Okay, so after laying out this whole harrowing series of events, the document shifts. It stops just telling a story and becomes a formal plea, demanding very specific actions from the authorities. His demands to the Attorney General's office are incredibly clear and direct. Number 1, investigate what he calls medical torture. 2, hold CVS accountable for intimidation and discrimination. 3, investigate the eviction threat using elder abuse laws. 4, force medical entities to let him use the pharmacy he chooses. And 5, make Google restore his accounts and compensate him. These aren't just vague complaints. They are specific, actionable demands for justice. And the sheer scale of his effort is just wild. This was not a private letter. He sent this detailed complaint to a huge list of over 50 different recipients, from state officials to huge corporations, making sure his story was going to be widely heard. I mean, just look at this list of who he sent it to. It shows you the insane breadth of his effort. He contacted everyone from the governor and Congress to human rights groups, major banks, and the media. It shows a man trying to navigate this incredibly complex web of systems just to get someone to listen. And that brings us to the end of this explainer, and to the really fundamental question that Professor Fayad's testimony raises. His document is all about a profound loss of trust in our major institutions: healthcare, housing, technology. So it leaves us to wonder, when one person alleges the very systems designed to support them have become weapons against them, who exactly is responsible for listening?